Hey, homies, friends, soul family. How you doing today? I hope you're great. Welcome to the new viewers. Today, I want to talk about fame. I don't know. Some angel just put that in my head. So, you know, I grew up with a dad who was locally famous. So not, worldwide famous, but locally famous. So he had a family, which meant he couldn't travel. And plays piano. So when you grow up around fame, and you grow up around people who are in fame. Basically, I grew up in green rooms. So when everybody was in elementary school, I was hanging out in a green room, and I just had a attitude of I can do whatever I want. My mom told me, if a teacher ever gives you crap, just leave. I think I've mentioned this before on this channel. Some viewers may not remember, but there was a time in 4th grade where I went to the office, and the secretary was she was just really stressed, I guess. I'm not going to call her name because we don't do that here. And we don't use pop culture. I've made that mistake before. Pop culture is just limited, okay? Like, you can't find your answers through pop culture. Every human being is unique. Hello, Twin Flames, 111. Okay, so here we call out numbers, angel numbers sometimes. We also do positive affirmations, so I want to check in to make sure you're doing your positive affirmations. I have done a few today with the I Am app that I always recommend. I love it. It reminds you throughout the day just to think a positive thought. And, I grew up with nothing but negativity. There's another way that you can go positive. I'll add to the last episode. Look at Quotable Integrity. They have a self-limiting belief video. And 4 of them. If you go through them, they'll help you to deprogram your subconscious. There's a lot of people that talk about that. I think, is it Jake Ducci? I don't know how to pronounce his name. He talks about that. Mary Kate, I mentioned last time. A couple people that talk about that. So back to fame. It's like that song by David Bowie, Fame, right? What you want is in the limo. What you need, you have to borrow. It's true. You do. You have to just borrow. You have to talk to people. You have to know people. You have to communicate constantly. You have to look good. You have to be in top shape, okay? And you can never really make a mistake. But I'm trying to be with, so my dad was like that. And he was very perfectionistic. And he taught me that. So today, my recommendation from the angels was to not be so perfectionistic. I posted a video yesterday. Thank you so much for the 8 people who watched it. Your energy just really helped, okay? And the people who watched the positive affirmation video when I said I needed more love, 23 people, I'm so happy for you guys that you helped me out for watching that. So I'm here to help you, but you help me by watching, and you give me light. Like, your love gives me light, and so that's the glow, right? So it's a synergy between me and you. So I do want to take a moment to ask you viewers, if you're not too shy, okay, to post something in the comments. I won't ask you to post a favorite song because that's too intimidating, right? Because some people may not like it. Just say something about you, okay? And we're silly here. I'm really silly. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be goofy, okay? And I am going to make sure nobody ever says anything mean in these comments. YouTube really polices that. You can report them if somebody says something mean to you. So if you write a comment and somebody says something to you that's mean, just report it. They may not approve, okay, so they have their own standards. But if you have a problem with it and I don't notice it, let me know, okay? Send me a message, or write something below it, and I'll remove it, because I don't want anybody putting anybody down here. This is for Peace Punk Production, and I'm probably going to change the name because I'm not a peace punk. I had a boyfriend who was a peace punk, and I really like the idea. I love Crass, but I'm not affiliated with anybody. So I have some punks going around going, peace punk, blah, 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 she's going to give us a bad name. I hear it. I'm psychic, okay? It's just too much. I can't do that. So if that's happening still, I'm going to change the name. If I keep hearing that, I'm going to change the name, homies, okay? Because there's so much smack talking in the Bay Area. That's another element of fame. There's a lot of gossip, okay? It's small town. When you're in showbiz, it is small town. So I dated a guy who was on a record label, Elektra. When I was 20, I moved down to LA, and he was working, 24/7 till 4 in the morning, just doing his songs. He was just working his butt off, and he did his album. He had his 3rd album, and he'd been really given a huge advance. So they used to give like $100,000 advances, and to him, he was 25, so he just blew up. He lost weight. He was famous. All of a sudden, he'd been hustling. He'd been on another label, Mushroom, I think, in New York. His girlfriend had helped him with, and I'm sure my friend who's watching knows what I'm talking about. She dated him too, but I stole him from her. Or he, anyways, it's hilarious. He went after me. I just didn't know how to support women. Don't ever do that, girls. Okay, that's the meanest thing ever. But me and her are friends now. So Hope she doesn't mind me saying that, and I'm not saying his name, but hope he doesn't watch this. We kind of left on a bad note, but you know, I forgive him for what he did. So anyways, back to basics. With showbiz, there's a lot of gossip, okay? And here in the Bay Area, there's a lot of people who are locally famous, and there's a lot of gossip. There's a lot of slander. And I'm here in Peace Punk Production to stop bullying and to stand up for people who are artistic, people who are light workers, people who are empaths, the people who get bullied the most, okay? Because I got bullied my whole life. I really did. And I was afraid to talk about it. And I didn't realize that once you get bullied, as a child, as a teenager, you know, and you know, if you get bullied, like, I'm not blaming anybody, because most people that bully, especially men who bullied me, they were bullied, okay, and they were not allowed to show feelings. And so they were mean, and so everybody's mean to them, and that's how they roll. So in some of the banzais and stuff like that, that's how they roll. They're critical, they're Gen X, they put each other down. I don't roll that way. I'm a millennial. You know, I go with the heart every moment, because I've had 2 near-death experiences, and I can't live any other way. The reason I came back was because of my spirit children, okay? And some of you may know about that, like how that works. I talk about it out loud not to anger anybody or make anybody feel bad, but just that dream I had of them made me stay here, right? And come back and decide that I'm gonna live from the heart every moment. So every lip sync I do on cat_Bambini, and every video I do here is straight from the heart. So if I'm not showing up, it's because there's nothing to say. And I don't want to push out content just to push out content. Now you do have to push out a lot of content to be a main creator here, and it's a lucrative career for a lot of people. So I'm going to say to you guys starting out, make sure that you just keep putting out content, right? Hire a coach, just get some tips, okay? Because you do need to follow a certain protocol to succeed. But otherwise, I'm not going to put something out if it's not relevant. And sometimes I'll put something up and it's just too much information, but I needed to put it out because there's an issue, you know, like they talk about in trap songs, stuff like that. And it helps, because what I have is my homies sending me love and thinking about me, and that energy helps me get out of that maze, okay? Because I was very badly abused by some silent friends. Nobody I knew, but there's some issues that my black friends know what I'm talking about, okay? They will know what I'm talking about. Rap singers know what I'm talking about. Trap artists know what I'm talking about. So I'm all over the place. Fame is very hollow, okay? It's very shallow. So people were very fake, okay? And when I hung out with people who were, like, you know, inspired by my father, stuff like that, I learned how people act when they think you have something, right? They think you have success or fame, and like I mentioned on my last video that I took down on my Instagram, you know, I had lost my noodle because I have a disability. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't mention that a lot. I may take this video down because I mentioned it, but I like to mention it because there's people who suffer with that, okay? And we're not living in Gattaca. We're not going to the gas chambers, okay? We need to talk about our issues, because if you're going to work, you know, and you have a disability, a lot of times I did not tell my employers about my disability, and I would have to go in the bathroom or do stuff like that, and it, you know, I'd have to talk with them and explain it eventually, because then they could accommodate me, okay? So that's why I mention it. But that issue I had, which I didn't find out I had until 2 years ago, I had a, you know, inclination, caused me to just really freak out on everybody. All my friends, all my artistic friends, all my everything. I just went nuts, and I don't remember most of it. I don't remember what happened. I don't know why I did it. There was some sort of forced, you know, pressure to confess something that was coming from somewhere. I don't know where. Some people might know what I'm talking about, okay? And I've read about it, and you know, I had called some people for help, and then it started happening. So I also grew up in the city. Sometimes as a teenager, I lived here on the streets for about a year. And so that's probably on the record, right? So sometimes you get profiled and things happen. I don't know why I mentioned that. Sometimes I just have to mention things because I'm going out the heart, so I'm going to slow down. But I just want to thank you. I just want to say that, okay? I want to say thank you guys so much for being here, and for sending love, and for thinking about me, and for learning from these things I'm trying to teach you. So fame, same thing with LA. So when people saw that I was with him, they would come up to me and treat me different. And then, you know, somebody stole him. So it's just, the guy I was dating, who was on Electra, it just, you know, it's how it works, right? So I would notice it because people who wouldn't talk to me suddenly talk to me, right? And they'd be hella fake. Like, people who would never give me the time of day, right? Because I was a dork my whole life, always a dork. Nobody told me I was beautiful. You know, that happened later, okay, when I got into my power. And I started just to really know who I was and know how to do some style and stuff like that. And people started calling me pretty because I had tattoos. I was different. That started to be the thing, right? Like I was trying to be different, but that started to be the main thing. And that's the main reason a lot of guys and stuff think I'm cute is my tattoos. And I wish I didn't have them, to be honest, because they cause a lot more problems than they do for me. Help at this moment. And it was part of the reason I got profiled too. So, you know, be careful about those. Just really be careful about those, because I did a lot of them when I was 20. When I got back from LA, I had failed. You know, I was trying to work on music with him, and I wasn't good at working with people on music for a long, long time. I have some buddies who helped me, 2 bros who helped me do music, and they really were patient with me because I had a hard time communicating frontal lobe issue. From childhood, I just had a hard time with hearing no for an answer. That's something that came from my relatives. From El Salvador, and they're from Spain. Okay, so I was just joking about the Mexican thing, but I love Mexicans. So Mexicans are welcome here. Black folks are welcome here. Anybody who feels oppressed, underserved, artistic, sensitive, doesn't feel like they fit in, wants to do showbiz, wants to do stuff like that, you know, modeling, music. And if I'm throwing the peace and the love sign all the time, it's a shtick. I just started to do it because nobody's doing it, and it's so weird to people. But you know, my homies who in the black community always throw the peace sign back, always, in San Francisco. So it's just a way to say, hey, dude. But other people don't seem to know it anymore. So I throw it at the police, you know, everybody, and I've just gotten used to doing it all the time. My ex told me not to throw the peace sign because he thought it was cheesy, but my modeling coach says, you know, always have something. Like if you're doing camera, if you're doing something on camera, just always have something to do, right? Like whatever you feel, but you gotta ham it up, okay? You really do. That's what you gotta do if you wanna be professional. You gotta ham it up. You gotta be okay with yourself. You gotta be comfortable in your skin. And if you have disabilities or anxieties or you're nervous, stuff like that, work on them, okay? And communicate about them. And those industries, music industry is totally different than it used to be. Now a lot of people are using social to promote their music. You still gotta act the same way. Even if you could, 1212, I'm on my path, it's the number. You gotta act the same way on social as you would if you were on a music label, if you were on, and I'm on Cleopatra with a band called Brain Ticket, under another name I used to use. And you know, being on a label's rad. They don't pay much these days, so you know, it's if you're going for that, you're not gonna get money, okay? It's not, they don't give the advances anymore. You don't have all the A&R reps. It's really changed. It changed, it's the last 10 years. I remember studying business. I went to school for music at a local community college, and I was studying the music industry, and I was learning about the business of music, and there was all these, you know, legalities and stuff, and everything has changed, okay? So now a lot of people want your content in all perpetuity. So a lot of times I just use other people's songs and do lip syncing, stuff like that. Because mine, you know, people didn't really like them. So it's hard for me to promote them because they're personal and they're really niche. They're like, you know, I really like thrash, I like metal, I like punk music. And people just didn't get them. They just didn't get it. And, you know, I think they're really great. I think they could use a little polishing, but, you know, and I don't get paid for those. They're on Bandcamp. You know, sometimes people throw down for an album. It's under Kirsten Bean. But I don't use that name anymore. And it's not about that for me. You know, I just worked full time, put my money into it, and made music. And I did the music that I wanted to make instead of trying to make. When I was in LA with that guy, he did his 3rd album, and they didn't like it. He put his everything into it. It was like 3 months that I was living with him down there, just hardcore, working his ass off, always working, always working. We never went out. We were just in the apartment. He was in the studio. I was bored, to be honest. I was bored, and I was acting out. So, you know, I moved back. I just left eventually because I was just like, I can't do this. It's not working. And but that's what musicians have to do. Like, you're just working all the time. If you're really into it, you got to really put your all into it. But they didn't like it, so he got dropped, and it was just really a nightmare for him and his ego. But he started his own label. Joan Jett did that too. She got rejected by, I feel like it's 50 different labels. You know, they were like, you're not, and this drives me nuts. I'm like, she's amazing. She's got the most quintessential punk music I've ever experienced. You know, it's just female power. She did her own. So, and then she got big in Europe because it's really hard to break in here. It truly is. It's really hard, and that might be why my songs don't do good here. I think Europeans like them more. I have a German fan. They're more like nihilistic. They're more existential, stuff like that. And Americans like pop, okay? And I always wanted to be a pop star. My dad made pop music. And he was trying to be a big pop star, and he had all these singers over all the time when I was growing up. Just beautiful singers. They used to like play with my hair. I felt like they were my alternative mothers, right? I had like multiple alternative mothers. They weren't hooking up with him, but like, you know, they were working together professionally, and they had beautiful voices, and he wrote albums that were pop music, and so I don't mind it, and I grew up with it. You know, I love Bette Midler. I love, she's an amazing singer. I love, you know, there's many singers I love like that. So just, I think I mentioned that to say that I'm open. You know, if you're wanting to be in showbiz, look at what you want to do, right? Okay, so don't do what you want to do, but you also have to find the line. If you're going to be working with other people, you have to find the line of what your audience likes and what sells, okay? If you want to make money at it, or if you want to be successful, because social capital is money for you. It's not money per se, but it's the same. It's social capital, so that gives you cred. And I was going to make this episode about cred, like how to get your cred back. I'll probably do that next, because I had to get my cred back. I really screwed up. I was talking at the beginning, I messed up. I just freaked out on social, aired a bunch of dirty laundry I shouldn't have. Said things about people that were just, I should never have said, you know, and really made some mistakes and lost some friends for life. I don't think I can ever hang out with them again, okay? So, and I love them a lot. And I know they love me too. It's just, it's kind of business, right? So, I can't. And it's sad. I mean, I don't mind, but I think that they feel like that. So it's like, you know, I get it. And I won't try. But, you know, it's, you gotta be professional, you know? And if you, like, do lose it, if you make a mistake, don't be hard on yourself. I know I'm all over the board today. I'm still recovering from that gluten thing I ate that I was talking about. It takes, like, weeks. If you have celiac, like I do, it takes weeks to get better if you eat gluten. It's that bad. It's just, don't ever make fun of somebody who's gluten-free, please. I remember when I was figuring out I was celiac, my aunt has it, and it's gonna be all over the board today. Everybody was making fun of me, okay, including my partner, and I'm not gonna try to shame him, but it was just, I think it was a fear that they couldn't eat with me. So eating with people is important, and I can't eat out at certain restaurants if they're safe, you know, but I have to be really careful. So, you know, they would make fun of me, and they'd joke about putting gluten on my food, and it made me so sick. I thought I was dying. I thought I had a terminal illness. I was sick all the time. I had no energy. I was just always sick, and my face was always puffy and all this stuff, and I was overweight and just everything. And it was gluten. As soon as I removed it, my life started just improving so much, you know, and then once I got rid of it, you know, I got diagnosed after the fact, and it made my life better. So don't make fun of people that. I don't know why I brought it up. Probably because I'm following up on the last episode. I should probably slow down. I'm just really excited today. I'm so happy that you guys are so supportive. Really, I mean, everybody who watches, I just feel it, okay? And I don't know who's watching. Sometimes I get an inclination that it's somebody I know, or some family or friends. And I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate all of you. I'd really love to see you guys comment below and start to get to know me and each other. I want to get to know you. And I'm still, you know, if somebody wants mentorship, somebody who's really, really who's a writer, and really wants to learn how to get their voice. Since I've learned my voice and I know how to do that and I'm a professional writer, I want to help somebody with that. So if you're highly motivated, and you know, I want to help a person of color, to be honest, because I feel like just people of color don't get as much opportunity, and a lot of people of color have to do alternative activities to survive, okay, and support their families. And so I'm really supportive of encouraging artistic community amongst people of color and helping with what I have, and that's what I do. So I'm really serious about that. Hit me up if you know me on Instagram. And I'd like to mentor a woman just because I just feel like I would be better with that. And so just hit me up, really serious. If you're serious about it and you want to just like contact each other, maybe, you know, once or twice a week, it could be more. And we could do a video call, or we could do email and just talk about your writing, even if you're shy. Okay, so if you're starting out with writing, you're going to be shy. It's going to be really hard for you to share, you know, for a lot of people, and that's the hard part. Okay, that's the first 10 years of writing, maybe 20. You got to really look at it for the long haul, okay? Somebody who's in it for the long haul, you're not going to get good at it overnight, and you're not going to get your voice overnight. It took me until, you know, my 30s to get my voice, and it was everyday writing that did it. So you just have to practice. Somebody who's committed to practicing. So I'm throwing that out there because I'm here to help artists, you know, and it's really hard being an artist. You know, it's hard to find mentors, it's hard to find funding, it's hard, you know, all of that. So, you know, I'm learning about that myself. So back to fame, you know, the money thing, I would highly recommend if you're going into showbiz or modeling or anything else to keep your day job, because it's just, there's not a lot of money, there's a lot of competition, a lot of people who want to do these things, and it takes a long time to get better at it, and it's who you know. But I will say, if you have the time right now with the pandemic and you're on unemployment and all that stuff looking for work, but you're, in between, just do as much as you can, okay? Like, because you can really advance your skills in modeling, in acting. Like, I'm taking acting classes online right now. Everything by just doing it full time, So when I take acting classes, they say you have to reach out like 50 times a week for opportunities. This is hardcore hustle, okay? It's hardcore hustle. It's exhausting. You have to hit auditions. It's who you know. It's about your personality, so it's not even just about fitting the role. It's about your personality, and now a lot of them are self-made videos, so you're not meeting in person, but you're giving them a video, which is like even more awkward, right? Because you have to like wait for the response, and you don't know real time if they're going to hire you or not. And then you have to have a certain look. It is about your look. It's about your style. It's about your intentions. It's about how you feel. It's about how you interact. So have some positive things to say to people. Have some little conversation pieces for people who have social anxiety or shy. Learn how to just make some conversation, okay? Because that's going to be really important if you get taken out by an agent or, talent coach or somebody else. Just know how to network and know how to talk to people and learn about that, because that's going to be the reason you get a job, aside from your look. If you don't have the look, I'm sorry, you're not going to get the job, because they need a certain look for acting. And if you don't have the look, you're not going to get the job for modeling, because they need a certain look for modeling. So now they have like alternative models, so tattoos are in. But back in the day, I couldn't do modeling because nobody wanted tattoos, right? So you just have to know these things, and it's really about people, it's about connection. But I will say that a lot of people in those industries are really dysfunctional, people, and they spent their whole time just seeking fame because they thought that would give them the love and attention that they needed, and I can say that, my father had that encouragement a little bit of like, you're only worth something if you're a pianist, right? So he felt like that was his only worth, and when he was older, he taught me to let that go, because he let it go and he started doing other things. He's like, I'm a writer, I'm an artist, I'm all these things, I'm not just a musician, and everybody always just knew him as a musician. They're like, you're the concert pianist. It was just like so much like just people being really gushy, right? And really like over just, manipulative or excited. And that's how people can get when you start to get some fame or success. So I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier. When I lost my cred and freaked out on everybody, nobody wanted to respond to my posts at all. So I don't know what I said. I must have said some things that were so offensive, and I was getting a lot of psychic attacks from somewhere else. And I think I blamed them on my families and stuff like that, because I thought they were talking smack. And I just felt really hurt, because there was some rumors going around about me that were inaccurate. And so people wouldn't respond to me. And, even in the sober community, stuff like that, I had a lot of friends from there. They wouldn't talk to me because there was a rumor going around that I was a drug addict, stuff like that. There was some photos going around, guys were showing that, I didn't want to do some stuff. And I'm going to say that, so women, ladies who have that happen, tell them to delete that. And then if they don't, then just report them, and then tell your friends. If they're showing photos, tell your friends. If they see that, they're not your friend if they're indulging in that and they're using you as, to whack off to, or I don't approve of that, okay? So if anybody has any photos of me, and I think there's 2 people who do, delete them. And if anybody's seen those, tell them to delete them, because I've told them that. So they need to, because it's not stuff that, I wanted to do. And it's not, particularly, it's just, you don't want stuff like that around, okay? And if any guy, for ladies, makes you do that, just don't, okay? Because you never know where that's going to show up. You just never know. I remember when I was hanging out in a music forum for the guy I was dating, and that was my community. So all the people that gathered around that musician had similar interests and styles. And, I wasn't a groupie per se. I'm a musician too. So, we did music together, and I sang on some of his songs. But, like, the people, rumors would go around. Somebody really assaulted me, like, with bad mojo and, words. And I couldn't hang out in that community, and I was really afraid of the internet for a long time, because I was so sensitive, and I'd been bullied as a teenager by all my friends. They beat the crap out of me. Everybody would watch. I'd go to a neighbor's house and they'd start wailing on me, and I didn't know how to fight. I can fight, but I can't now, after I've, had a mistake with fighting. But I couldn't, and so I was like a 14-year-old, 13-year-old, just getting beat up all the time. All my friends turned on me. So when the internet forums did that, people started talking smack. I couldn't go on there. I didn't know how to deal with conflict resolution, and I was super sensitive. Now I would have confronted it. I would have talked to a moderator. I would have really confronted it. And I want to start something called like the Anti-Bully Alliance, because like particularly artists, empaths, people of color, people, light workers, get bullied a lot because we're sensitive, and this society doesn't teach you to feel. You're not allowed. And so like, I was talking in my video yesterday about how I was crying. It was pretty easy, and I was like so in shock. I was like, what's wrong? What's the catch? Because it's so hard for me to cry. Some things happened to me when I was little, I don't remember, but I was just never encouraged to cry. It was a really bad thing to cry, and so I just couldn't, like my body physically would just freak out if I needed to cry. So we need to feel, right? So make sure that you feel, and make sure you communicate. And if people are starting to make fun of you, ask for help, ask for an ally, and start to get some support, because you can't do it alone, okay? And if you don't have allies, you'll get some eventually. Just keep talking. And I'm gonna add this, if you have trauma, because I speak to narcissistic abuse victims and did for about a year here, don't share that trauma unless you're ready to re-injure yourself. If you're trying to work it out, that's fine. If you're figuring it out, sometimes I'll like talk in the mirror for hours just trying to work things out. It just happens, because sometimes you have to heal, right? And if you don't trust anybody, talk to yourself, okay? And you can imagine you're talking to your abusers and stuff like that, and you can talk back to them, but don't do that in real life, okay? I've made that mistake. Don't talk back to your abusers. Remember that they're not playing fair, okay? And if you have narcissists in your life, don't confront them, because they will do anything. They've spent their whole life, the only thing they're working on is that image that's fake. And so if you confront them, or if you go on a channel and you start to talk smack, first of all, you can't diagnose another human, so you can't diagnose somebody with narcissism. They have to go to a doctor, and it's rare to be diagnosed because you have to admit you have the problem, which is narcissists don't do. So there's narcissistic behavior, which is, when people have lack of empathy. In our society, in showbiz, places like that, there's a lot of people who have a lot of emotions, and they had dysfunctional families, and they're trying to get famous to get support, right? So when I lost my cred, nobody was supporting me. I started a new Instagram with a new name. Nobody was supporting me. Made a bunch of new friends. All the other friends came back. Then they don't follow me, some of them, but they show up. I see them because they show up in my story feed, okay? So, and I love that. I love that. I wish they would actually follow me, because I miss them so much. So if they ever see that, just follow me, homies, please. I love you. And if it's like a family, if this family should get in trouble, it's fine. I don't care. Don't follow me. It's gonna get you in trouble. But like, I miss everybody. So there's some people I deleted that I want to add back from some of my families, but I'm so embarrassed about what I did. I don't know their names on Instagram anymore. So I feel really bad about it, because I have like some family members and don't have others. So I just have to say that if anybody's watching. I don't think they are, but anyways, I'm just gonna say, once I started to get some, it took 2 years to get a video that had like 2,000 views, and that's not very much, but for me, I was like, what the? And it was a lip syncing song. All of a sudden, everybody's like showing up, so I was curious if people would start supporting me if I was getting some success, because other people would validate me. And the issue was having, and this is the same thing with showbiz and fame, but you need somebody to validate you. It's good to have a coach. Just, you don't need one, but it's good to have a coach or a mentor or somebody, because you need somebody to validate you in the writing world, in the music world. It sucks. I remember, anyway, so I started to get more videos, more people, came along, and some people have been there from the beginning, my homies, and I didn't even notice them. I was so out of my head with my disability, and I think I sent people weird messages, stuff like that, and I don't remember. Because I just had like a lot of flashbacks. I had a lot of things happen, and they were archived, and they came back. And so I just spouted it on social, because I didn't have any friends or family that got me. They didn't advocate, they didn't understand. I'd burn all my bridges. I was told to do that. I followed pop culture. And, I had to build a new community. And then, people came back to me. My ex, people like that. We're friends now, which is good. I never wanted us to be enemies. Never. And, we can't be together for many reasons, but, none of that's me, but I just don't want to date right now. So it's hard, because when you start to get successful, you can't trust people anymore, okay? You have a hard time trusting people, and this is a problem I've had my whole life, because I've seen how people act when they think you have power, success, or money, okay? And I've been around people with a lot of money, I've been around people with a lot of success, and people act different. So you have to have your peeps. Keep your peeps, okay? If you're going for fame, keep your peeps, man. Don't start avoiding your peeps, man. Don't make that mistake, because those people are shallow, they're obsessed with their careers, they're hard workers, and you gotta be in the know. You gotta, like, keep your friends, because the people you're gonna make friends with are not gonna be. You might find fellow artists, fellow models, fellow musicians, but you're not gonna make the same kind of friends as, like, your hardcore family. The other problem, though, is, like, your family and your friends, like, I've had this problem myself because I've always been either in the public eye or, you know, a musician, and they don't like it, okay? Because they're very patriarchal and they're very modern, traditional, and they don't like that I am so in the public, that I perform so much, because they don't understand it. They don't know what it is to be an artist, even though they like music, stuff like that. They take it personally, and they think I'm avoiding them or ignoring them, but I actually just have to work really hard. And so if I contact or message a friend and they don't contact me back, I'm not going to follow up again, because I can't waste my time, okay? And if people are ignoring me or stonewalling me, I have a couple friends who've done that. I don't do that. I don't do that to people. If I'm not contacting you, it's because I'm ill and need to take care of myself, and we'll get back in touch, okay? So you can always trust that with me. My besties know that. I always pick up where I left off. And my homies who are my soul fam, we always pick up where we left off. You want those people in your corner, okay? And I know a lot of people who have, like, a lot of money, and they're very suspicious. Some of these people I've had to make friends with over a long period of time, and they've actually treated me poorly when I'm just, like, a sweet girl from the valley, right, in the Bay. And, you know, maybe I went all street kid on them or something, but they just acted weird. I was like, what is this deal? And I realized they had a lot of sycophants around them. People who were going for money, people who wanted fame, people who tried to take your success and they want to feed off of it, okay? So, like, narcissistic people thrive in showbiz. And it's hard because if you're a genuine person like I am, who's heart-centered, I'm always heart-centered, you can be mistaken for a prima donna. People start treating you, when I started being pretty, people start treating me like shit. I'm gonna tell you that. People treat me like shit, okay? They are so mean. And I always thought when I was growing up that being pretty would solve my problems. I just wanted to be pretty. I was like, I want to be pretty. I want to be, you know, Nirvana, Courtney Love. I wanted to be a pretty freak. And I was. It's just that I didn't have people around me that told me I was pretty, you know? We didn't say that in my family. It wasn't an important element of our lives. And all the magazines, I wanted to be a model. I wanted to do all that stuff. And nobody ever told me I was pretty. And so I always felt ugly. And people put me down. You know, they made fun of my face. They made fun of my ass. I remember the guy I had the biggest crush on. He's like, you have a fat ass. And I thought that was a bad thing back then. He just didn't know what he was talking about, okay? But, like, it ruined my life. I was just like, oh my god, I was so depressed. Until I learned later, it's like in Latin culture, it's like a great thing, and black culture's a great thing. I remember, like, walking down the street in Oakland when I lived in the ghetto area, and a guy stopped his car and he's like, you look so good. I was like, thank you. You know, that's what you do in the ghetto. You say hi. You look people in the eyes, you wave the peace sign, stuff like that. Keep that attitude, okay? Talk to people, make friends. If you want to be successful, it's about who you know, it's about people, okay? It's not so much about your art, I have to say, although the art stands for itself. So if a song is good and it's heart-centered, like say Nirvana was, and you have good promoters, you know, everything's going well, your social, whatever it is that's working for you, your algorithms, your style, you know, if you're heart-centered, you're gonna succeed, okay? You're gonna do what you need to do. And it may not be like the first album you do. It may not be the first song you do. It may not be that you work with professional musicians the first time you work with musicians. You might work with a bunch of punks. You might work with a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. But that's why I love punk music, because you're supposed to be able to just pick up an instrument. A lot of punks have gotten so just snotty, okay? Seriously, they only wear the same outfit, and they have to, and you're not a punk if you don't wear that outfit. I remember going to a show with my friend. He took me to the Gilman, and I was wearing like a rainbow shirt. I had a friend who, she's so cute, she made a little card for me with like a rainbow shirt on it, because I went to the show and everybody wears black, I just wore black, and I was like, I'm not wearing black just because everybody's wearing black. Like, I'm a hippie, I'm a punk, I'm whatever, you know, I'm all of it. So, you know, it was, everybody was like, oh my god, you know, I was like, really? This is just like everything else. So, it's not about that. It's not about what you're wearing. It's not about your clothes. It's about the fact that anybody can pick up an instrument. And it doesn't have to sound a certain way. And you can do it yourself, okay? That's what the punk thing is. So if you're going for the DIY punk and you just love art and music, do that. Because showbiz is just, you know, it's a mess, okay? It can be really fun, really exciting, but it's a lot of work. You're behind the scenes. You know, I was in the green room all the time, just sitting there, just in the green room as a kid, like bored, Most of it was like backstage at the Leicester Theatre in Walnut Creek, just bored. Well, my dad got to perform, so I had a little bit of envy there. And, it was hard, and I just saw how much he worked. He was practicing all the time. Like, he practiced 8 hours a day when he was in school, got his master's in music in Texas, where I was born, even though we grew up in the Bay, and, he was always working. I remember as a child, I was just always, around him, near him while he's playing. I think sometimes I was on his lap even, and he's playing Rachmaninoff, and I'd like cry. But, he was just working all the time. He always worked. So I have that too, that work ethic. And that's why I succeed at things, because I work at it, okay? And I know that I'll succeed because you just got to show up every day and do it. It's not going to be one thing. A lot of people get a viral video, complex, where they're like, we just have to get a viral video. You don't want the viral video, okay? It's going to freak you out. You're going to get a viral video, and you're going to be like, the next one you're going to get like 50 views or less, 10. You're going to be like, just, oh my God, nobody likes me. It's so up and down, okay? And that's how fame, success is, up and down. 1 minute you're at the top, next minute you're down. There's a song that's like, it's a reggae song. Oh my God, my brain's not working. 1 minute you're a Rasta, 1 minute you're a businessman. It's like you have to change your costume a lot, and sometimes people like you, sometimes they won't. And if you are in the public eye, you have to be really careful, and you do have to be humble, okay? You have to make apologies. You have to be humble. You absolutely have to be humble. Nobody likes the prima donna, and you're gonna have a team. If you're an actress, if you're a model, if you get bigger, you're gonna have a team, okay? And your team is gonna talk smack about you if you're a brat, okay? You don't want to be a brat. You don't want to be entitled. You don't want to be, and I've done this before where I'm like, okay, I'm spoiled. I get to do what I want. You never, ever, please, my friends, don't get that attitude. I've made that mistake. You end up with no friends. Everything's your bitch. And, people are going to think you're a bitch anyway. People think I'm a bitch because I'm a musician or a writer or a social media influencer. They think I'm a bitch because I'm pretty now, I guess. And it's hard, okay? So the more successful you get, the more pretty you get, the more people are going to call you a bitch and talk shit about you because they think that you have something they don't. And so you have to be generous. You have to be very generous to those people because you have to realize that they just don't understand anything. They don't know what it's like. They don't know how hard you're working. They don't know that it's the same up there as it is down there. It doesn't make you any different. They don't know how much pressure you have and stress you have. And a lot of people might, I saw Lady Gaga, she had, her dog's shooter got killed. And she was looking for the dogs, and somebody took it out of context. They're like, she doesn't even care about the shooter. I'm like, dude, I'm sure she cares about the person who got killed. I'm sure she cares about the dog walker. I'm absolutely sure. But, a lot of poor people are posting, these people don't even care about humans or something. I'm like, famous people are the same as, people in the elite, they're the same as you, okay? So you can have that too. It's like, if you end up with that, you start getting put down. People start looking at you like you have something they don't, even if you've worked hard for it your whole life, okay? Even if you don't have it, even if you just look like you have it. Like me, I look like I have stuff, I don't. And people are like, suddenly they're like, she's a bitch. I'm like, dude, people have been saying that about me my whole life. They've just been talking smack. I don't know why they talk smack. I guess it's because I have a pretty face, apparently, even though nobody told me I had one when I was growing up. They said I was cute. I was always cute, right? So it's important to just be professional and be kind and be humble. And it's important to make amends if you made mistakes. It's important to, if people are saying something about you that's inaccurate, just have your own information, on your channel, on your Instagram. And the people who really love you will read it eventually. I had some people who really didn't like me and they had the bad idea about me. So I've had to and some of these people were wealthy, or some of these people were, and they really just dealt with people who were sycophantic and manipulative. And so they assumed I was like that. And that really hurt me. I took it so personally. It's all about me. I was like, oh my God, they didn't even know me. And so I just really dedicated myself to letting everybody know me by writing poems every day. And I realized people didn't know me. Even my besties growing up, they didn't know me because I never shared my poems. I never shared my feelings. I was so afraid. And it was really terrifying when I did. I used to hide under a blanket, for hours. I couldn't do anything. I'd turn off my phone. I'm praying, even though I don't believe in God. Necessarily I think we are God. We created this. And we have a higher self, but and I'm nihilistic in that it's kind of, the world's a little messed, right? Not everything works out. So, I don't know, people just have made assumptions about me, so I had to start expressing myself because I had to meet a lot of new friends, and I had to do what I do, which is writing music, art, and if I had bad small town vibes going around about me, because your reputation would be tarnished like that if you make a mistake like I did and just follow advice of pop culture and start posting all your trauma, stuff like that publicly. Don't ever share it with anybody who's not a licensed therapist or doesn't know, okay? Talk in the mirror. I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. Just don't. It's going to hurt you, okay? I've done that before. I remember sharing a video with a friend, and it was a video, I was working out some trauma, and it was emotional. She didn't like emotions. She doesn't do emotions, okay? At all. I can't deal with it, because she made fun of it. She's like, don't you ever do anything happy? And I was like, oh my God, honey, it's art, okay? And you can show feelings in art, but you don't want to share with people who don't understand it. So she's just not a person I can share that stuff with. And it really hurt my feelings, because I thought she was. I thought we were connected, and we weren't. We're not connected. We don't have anything in common, okay? So sometimes you have to accept that with some of your homies. You don't have anything in common. You gotta let go, okay? You like them, you like their spirit, but you're not gonna interact on anything that's, they don't get you. You don't want people around you that don't get you, especially when you're in the biz, because it's hard, okay, and it's lonely, and you spend a lot of hours practicing lines in the mirror. You spend a lot of time modeling, working over photo shoots, editing. You do a lot of editing in social media, a lot of video editing if you're doing videos, and you need your friends, you need your community. So I don't know why the Angels gave me this idea, or my higher self gave me this idea today. Somebody needs it. Maybe I needed it. I think we all need it. I think we all want that, right? We want to be, the people watching this want to be doing our best work. We want to be putting it out there. We want to do artistic stuff. We want to be creative. We want to share with people. We want to interact, right? So I have people who do trap music that are my friends. I have people who do, punk, rap. I have people who write. I have people who do art. Those are my peeps, the artistic people. My mom's an artist. She's a dancer. So am I. And my dad is as well. So it's just who I want to vouch for. My mom taught me that. Just vouch for artists, because she's always there for the artists and the underserved. She always has been. She taught me that. And being on the streets taught me that too. You just want to be there for the underserved and the poor. And, we got to be there for each other. We got to stand up for each other. And there's a lot of times you might have to stand up for your friends. So this is all over the place. But I really do want to start like an anti-bullying alliance here, because you need an advocate, you need an ally if you're getting bullied. You need somebody to talk to. And then you might need that advocate to talk to the person who's bullying you, okay? Power in numbers. Bullies bully in private. Take them out in the open, okay? Make them interact with you in the open. Make them interact with you amongst other people. If other people or group, like your family group, is bullying you. So I've been in a lot of families where people bully because they need the family to be a certain way, and they lie and hide information and stuff like that. And I can't do that. I'm always a truth teller. I'm always going to call it out. If it's painful to call out, and the things that have been happening are too, like, some of the stuff I shared, I didn't want to share it. It took me years to even put it together because I'd forgotten it. And I was told to share that publicly because I didn't have any allies, okay? So I needed people to support me, and it made me a lot of enemies. And so I had to do what I had to do. I got my allies, I got my peeps. Everybody understood me eventually when I explained what I was doing later. But be careful about doing that. Don't follow my example and do what I do, because I just had nothing to lose. I lost my life twice, once when I was 15, once when I was, 2 years ago. And I didn't want to live a false life. I just wanted to go I started taking modeling class. I started doing all the things that I was too shy to do. I was shy my whole life, and I was critical, and I was criticized, and I was bullied. And so I was kind of a bitch because I would act out and snap on people because I couldn't deal with interactions. And so it really affected my ability to be successful, with people I was working with, like the musician I was working with, like I've said before. He tried to help me with some of my songs, and I couldn't let him go because those little songs I'd written were the only things I could do. It's always taken me a lot to write a few songs, okay? So I'm better at singing on people's albums than I am writing my own songs. I've learned. Because the songs I write, people don't really like. They're punk. They're kind of just out there. They're simple. People don't like my guitar, but that's punk rock. You play what you want, okay? And they're messy. That's why I like them. So they're on SoundCloud, where my songs go to die, some of them. But just, I don't know, I got lost. Just do your thing. Do what you want to do. I wanted to do what I love and what I was born to do, and so I'm doing it, and it will take a long time. You'll have a long time where nobody follows you, nobody supports you, nobody listens to you. You might lose your friends and family because they think you're selfish, shallow, cunty, narcissistic. I've had that happen to me multiple times in my life when I've gone to LA or, had to just let people go for a while. They're still my friends, they're still in my heart, but they are small towns, so they're traditional, and they want things to be a certain way. So you might lose some of your very conventional friends because they want you to hang out once a week. They want you to call them once a month, and they need that. That's their rules. They read pop culture. They're following the book. I don't follow the book. I never have. I go by the heart. The heart is in the moment. If you believe in divine influence or higher self, if you pray, like there's just this guidance that you should not always say the same thing. You want to go with the heart, you want to go with your spirit, and it's spontaneous, okay? So you have to be able to change your mind anytime. When you're doing performances, I've learned that the most successful ones are the ones where you're in the moment and you're going with your spirit and you're not faking it, you're not pretentious, you're not pretending, you're not trying to impress people, okay? You're just going with your heart, you're being yourself. Those are the videos for me that do the best, when I'm going with my heart and being myself. And it's something people like, okay? So you have to find that medium. I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. Still getting better from the gluten-ing. It's like I gotta keep the ideas linear if I can't, you know, it happens with autoimmune. If, you know, you gotta, just lost it. What else, guys? It's a long one today. I'm a goober. It's cool. Be a goober. Write in the comments something about yourself. I don't know what I was saying, I forgot. I think I'm just rambling too much. Angels, you wanna help me out? They say you're amazing. They say you say I'm amazing. Cool. We're all amazing, okay? I'm glad you're doing your positive affirmations. Be honest, okay? Be honest. Be honest with people. Don't lie. Be honest. Just tell them who you are. If you make mistakes, apologize. Forgive. It lets you off the hook. Now, there's some abusers I can't forgive, okay? It's hard because but sometimes what I think about is that they were probably abused too and they have their own issues, and that doesn't make me let them abuse me, because I will always just not be in an abusive situation at work, at home, in families. I will always call it out. Okay, and if you're in a family with doing it, find an ally, because the family might bully you, okay? And you don't want that. And then everybody starts bullying and ganging up, right? You got like the black sheep, you got the oldest child, you got the middle child. Don't be that like that. If you find a little sister or brother, like stand up for them, because it's hard, okay? And if you're shy, you probably get bullied more. If you're a musician or an artist, you get bullied more because you're not like everybody else. And that always happens to me, where I'm considered, you know, cunty or narcissistic or selfish because I have to focus 24/7 on my art or work. And even men I've been with who were supportive in the beginning, they stopped letting me do music and art. They would put it down all the time. And I can't do that ever. That's my life, okay? So I was young, and I thought I had to be with a man, and I thought I had to do what they said. And so I would just do what they said, and that's how I grew up. So, you know, I will never do that again. You know, I put down the loves of my life that I was hustling to do, the music, everything, because I listened to other people and what they thought of me. And because some people, you know, I was working with would put it down, I would not do it. And I wouldn't go find other people. Go find other people. So I learned when I started my new Instagram, found new people, that the people I was hanging out with were very mean, and they were very cruel, and they would put me down a lot, and they talk a lot of smack. And that's what people do when they're artistic in the showbiz. They talk a lot of smack. I don't know why. Human beings do it, but it's particularly bad in showbiz. And if you get a bad reputation, it can be really hard. That's when you have to go DIY, like Joan Jett, and just do your own thing. Okay, so there's always an option. That's the one thing you have to remember. There's always an option. If you don't get this audition, you'll get another one. You have to do a lot to get successful. You do. You have to keep doing it, and you can't give up, and it has to go on for a long-ass time. Okay? So don't get caught up in the age thing. I remember reading a lot of books when I was doing music when I was younger that were, you know, really telling me that you get seasoned as you get older, and you get better gigs as you get older. And if you get caught up in the younger thing and like being the successful pop star when you're younger, stuff like that, you're gonna burn yourself out. I really thought I couldn't do music because I left LA when I was 20 and had failed, you know, to really do anything. And I didn't try very hard. It was hard for me to make friends. It was hard for me to get jobs. It was hard for me because I love where I live. I have so many friends. I grew up with a community. There's no community there, okay? So it's really hard, and it really is hard. And I didn't like it, you know. And I remember he used to tell me I was small town Bay Area because he'd gotten big. He's like, you need to open up your limits. And I was like, nah, I like it to be grassroots small. But I understand what he's saying now. I had a friend, she's really successful. She works at LinkedIn, and she was telling me, and I was really kind of bitchy and, you know, pretentious about my profile. I would keep it private, and I'd only add certain people. She's like, you should put it public and share it with everybody. Like, people say don't do that, but I add everybody, like on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram, because I've met so many different people by not being shallow and not being, you know, only certain people can be my friends. And she just blew up. She had like poems, she wrote a book, she published it, and she has a lot of friends, and I was like really kind of jealous, right? Because I was like, oh my god, she's so good at this, and I was like, maybe it's because she's this, maybe it's because she's that. It's because she opened the doors to people. She was willing to accept people in, and she was willing to put it out there with new people that weren't cool. Okay, you don't want to hang out with the cool people, man. They suck. Okay, and I've been one of them. I sucked, and I really liked the beautiful people, and I don't anymore. I'm no. There's more to life than beauty, okay? And I've been ugly before, you know, I've been a mess, and I've put myself out there. And those are the peeps that are my homies. They were there when I was like, you know, had snot in my nose, or, you know, didn't realize I was just a dork, or like, he did some song that people didn't like. And I was so afraid of that. I was like, I need to do the songs all my friends like, you know, stuff like that, because I need to be cool, I need to get my cred back. It's like, the people pleasing doesn't get you anywhere, okay? Be yourself, be strong and stable. Don't people please. People don't like that. They'll call you kiss up, and they won't like it anyway, because they can tell you're trying, okay? If you're trying, it's not gonna work, and I've learned this the hard way, because I always did that. I always wanted to fit in and be cool and popular, and I would try, okay? And I did a lot of pole dancing videos. I remember on my Peace Pump production. They're still on there. The homies that are curious. I used to like do twerk and stuff like that. And I did a lot of bad videos, you know? I just put tons of videos, and then I started getting really good at it. I remember when you guys like started wanting to date me after I left the partner, and I was like, what? You know? But it was because I was dancing and people were liking it, and I was getting good at it. So sometimes you might get more people trying to ask you out, stuff like that. Be careful, okay? Because those people, if they only like you for that, you know, they probably just want to sleep with you, okay? So I'm going to say that. Just be careful, honeys. And even men for the women. Women can be, you know. So anyways, it's all from my heart today. I guess it needs to come out. And I'm just going to say thank you for being here, everybody. And thank you for giving me love when I ask for that. I don't usually ask for that. It's hard for me. I usually just try to take care of myself. And that's not a good idea right now, I'm going to say to you people. So if you are having a hard time, you know, start a channel, do some social. Realize that it's going to be, you know, recorded, monitored, and information. It's like a police device almost. Feels like, you know, that information is in perpetuity, and it's, you know, be careful. Just know what you're doing, okay? But reach out. Get to know people. Get to know new people. And be open to people if they have different interests than you. And realize you might lose some friends and family if you go for it, okay? You gotta be around people who understand the biz and understand that that's what you have to do and that it's hard work. If you're an entrepreneur, it's the same thing. People won't like that you're working 24/7. They'll want you to hang out after 5 p.m. in the job. You can't. I mean, you gotta do your work. You gotta do your work, okay? And you're not gonna get successful if you don't. So you just have to, okay? And so I'm just gonna say that from all the mistakes I've made. And I've had so many opportunities, so many things landed on my lap that I wanted. And I just screwed them up because of my issues. So be careful. Treat your disabilities, you know, and your illnesses and stuff like that. Don't stress yourself out too much. Keep in shape, eat healthy, exercise, because it's important to be in shape. It's important to be in shape and look good and have a clean vibe. Most of the people in showbiz, you know, usually have a clean vibe because they have to. You gotta be fluid. So be like water. And I'll just say, yeah, I love you all. Thank you for being here. And I think next time we'll talk about credibility, okay? And how to get your credibility back if you lost it, or how to gain credibility. Because I've had to do that multiple times in my life with writing, with art, with music, where I had no cred, I was a nobody. Even though my dad was a pianist, that was classical music, so I was trying to be with punk artists, I was trying to do that, and nobody liked me, you know? I remember people started liking me when I had a friend who kind of got me some work and introduced me to some friends. Suddenly I was cool. And it was weird, so it didn't necessarily feel good, you know, because it's like all these people that didn't give me the time of day now did, okay? And so sometimes you want that. And my whole life since I was bullied, I was like, I want to be cool, I want to be pretty, I want to be, you know, whatevs. And it doesn't change anything, guys, okay? The only thing it changes is that you might have more possibilities to do your work if you know more people and you're more successful. So for me, when I started getting popular on the Instagram, it made it so that I could do more, and I connected with more rad people who were just really at the top of their game, doing what they're doing. So indie people, and they're homies, right? I got homies. So really just, you know, reach out, do your thing, put it out there. Don't be afraid to put your work out there. And if you're getting afraid, there's a lot of sound recordings you can listen to about getting your self-esteem up, okay? There's one on Dr. Virtual that I use every time I do music or a video, because I'll get obsessed with it and I'll want to obsess on whether it's good or not, and then I'll want to see if people like it or not. Don't do that, okay? Just move to the next thing. let it go. Usually what I do is I'll put videos out and I let them go. If I start checking them all the time, you're gonna go crazy, okay? And you're not doing your next work. That's the biggest tip. You're not doing your next work. Listen to Ego Monster by Dr. Virtual, and it will kind of get you out of the obsessive mode of your ego trying to control what you just made, because your ego wants to keep it, and your ego doesn't want to let go of it because your ego doesn't want to die. And it's gonna, it's not gonna last forever, and so it's always fighting to kind of keep things how they are. You, as an artist, need to always be developing, and you want to let your work go. Let people critique it, see what works, what doesn't, and then make different stuff and throw it out. Be flexible. Don't be so, like me when I was with my music, so possessive about my babies that I wouldn't share them unless I felt like people would really get it. And I was like that with my poetry for years, but I'd only share it with 2 friends, 2 besties, because I knew they got it, and I didn't get any reward from sharing it with other people because they just didn't know what I was talking about. But then when I started sharing them with nihilistic people, people got it, okay? And some of my friends who are poets, they got it. And I appreciate that, okay? I appreciate it when people like stuff and get a benefit. I love when people comment. It's rare. People usually just like, but they eventually, once in a while, somebody will, when I'm about to give up, give me a comment and say, I love what you do, or your videos make me laugh, or, whatever. And that keeps me going. Your comments keep me going. The things you like about this help me to continue doing what you like. And they give me feedback on, like, what I should do next. So this one's really long, but I think people are going to watch it. It's probably just for a few folks. Because you want to be successful, you want to do stuff, you want to do your art, you want to do your music. So keep your day job, okay, if you have it. You need one now, you just do, okay? It's so hard to live right now. You need money, and you need to have a work ethic. You need to do your work every day. You can't complain that you don't have time. You need to do it. I have so many artist friends who are like, I don't have the time to write. Well, you're not going to be a writer then, okay? That's just how it rolls, okay? And if you don't want to hear that, then you shouldn't be writing. I mean, you have to write. And that's what I heard from every writer. I remember analyzing, going off, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I had an ex who's like, why are we talking about this? Let's just do it. And he's right, but I had to figure it out first. You have to figure out why you're doing it. So let yourself do that. Let yourself figure out why you're doing it, analyze it, all that stuff. But then, let it go and do it. Just do it every day. When you get home from work, do it. What I started doing with writing when I was working 9 to 5 was just writing in my notepad right when I woke up a poem. And then I would do like a handstand before work and yoga every day, because you have to schedule it in. So get up a little earlier and do it and make it a routine, because then the muse will come. You have the time and space and the muse will come, and then you'll start building a body of work, and then you'll have stuff to show people when they ask you what you do. For a long time I didn't have anything to show people, and I freaked out. And all my stuff was crappy. People don't like it. And, it didn't fit anywhere. All my stuff never fit anywhere. That's why I made my own stuff and did DIY. Nobody got it until I did it myself and then found my peeps. Okay, so keep going. Don't give up. It's going to take a long time sometimes. You got to really be in it for the long haul, especially if you're a writer, okay, and a musician. It's hard, okay? And then people might mock you and make fun of you and put you down. That all happened to me, okay? So really consider whether you like being in the public eye and whether you like people putting you down, because it's going to happen. And you have to be resilient. You have to have a tough skin. I was not. I did not have a tough skin. I was like, I'm done. I'm out. Screw you guys. I don't do that. I'm a millennial. I'll do something else. You can do that. Change your mind. I don't want to be bullied or put down. If anybody does that to me in a band, you don't do that. It's 2021. We can't put each other down. We need love. We need to feel our emotions. So that's what art's about. So anyways, thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for being here. I hope this helps somebody. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you've been in the biz, or you share your tips with people, because your comments help people, okay? Other people read them. And it's a community. So I'll talk to you later, guys. And yeah, I do throw these a lot. It's become a shtick, okay? It's just because people hated it. So I'm like, why do you hate peace? I'm having to be nonviolent, and it's so hard to be nonviolent because most people are violent. Okay, so I've got to stand here and be nonviolent until people start joining me. Be nonviolent. Learn how to be nonviolent. We need to learn how to be nonviolent. It's not working for us. So, I don't want to go today, guys. The angels say you're lovely. And yeah, I say prayers now, even though I don't believe that, because it's like, man, this shit's gone weird. So if I say God bless you, I mean it, man. Whatever that is, just hang in there, okay? You're going to do okay. And if you have art or writing or anything, and you want to share it with me, let me know, okay? I'll look at it, okay? Bye.